Alright, let's talk about Duke Gardens. So, they called it a personal retreat, but really, it was just their way of trapping us into not feeding us for a whole day. So, in my heart, I honestly believed, like, when they told us that we had to fast from, like, sun up, 8 o'clock, to when they fed us later about 5, I honestly believe like somebody didn't budget right and they didn't budget the food right, so we lost out on 2 meals. So let me just break it down what happened. So basically, like a dummy, I decided to get up early and go with the whole Fitness Connection squad and work out that morning. So I hadn't eaten since dinner time that last night, and so all I had was a muffin after I got back from working out because it was before 8 o'clock when we were supposed to start fasting. We ended up meeting at Duke Gardens at 8:45 in the morning. They basically went up and told us, so we're gonna have you guys have your own personal spiritual retreat and extended quiet time with the Lord for 3 hours in Duke Gardens. My first instinct was, how the heck am I supposed to pray for 3 hours on an empty stomach in a random place with just 5 questions to stimulate this thought? And they gave us like a verse to think about. So I was struggling really hard off the bat, just understanding like their reasoning behind having us do this. And fasting, like, of course I've heard of prayer and fasting, but I've never had to do it like as a choice. Like, I've never said, oh, I'm not gonna eat. Before, when I fasted, it's just like, I'm not gonna have sweets or junk food. And so it was more like Lent, it wasn't like a fast. We split up and everybody finds their own space. The first spot I sit down at, it was by a road. So there were a lot of cars and people, not a lot of people, but it was enough cars, enough people, and then there were like spiders and ants near where I was. So I was really distracted because I was trying to get comfortable, and I couldn't get comfortable and focus on the word. I had my backpack and my cajon, and I think I had one more thing I was carrying, but my hands were basically full walking around Duke Gardens trying to find a new spot to sit down at. And I wasn't trying to sit close to any City Project people because I'd just be tempted to talk to them. And I actually wanted to focus and like have my quiet time and take it seriously. So I ended up, after 10 minutes, I found a random spot kind of near like an overpass where everybody was taking photos, because it was a little dip down with a bunch of flowers. It was real nice. But I ended up sitting down, and for some reason I couldn't focus. It was probably like spiritual warfare. Honestly, I think the devil was trying to keep me from doing this because he knew like how it would affect me. Like my first, more or less my first quiet time of City Project in like the whole summer. So I think he was trying to hold me back and keep me from doing it the right way. But basically, I ended up struggling for, I think, about an hour into it. I was still not completely settled, and I still wasn't completely focused. So I was just reading over the little sheet they gave us, and I started thinking, I was like, why can't I focus? And it was like the Lord spoke to me then, and he was like, or I don't know, either it was him or he put this on my heart, but like, Oscar, you can barely focus on your homework or things that you like doing without music in the background. Like, what makes you think like this situation can't be the same? So I actually went on Spotify, God bless Spotify, and found a worship instrumental playlist, and I put that on shuffle, and it completely zoned me out, and I was just singing in my head and just praising God for the next like 20 minutes, just song after song. And then I was finally like, okay, I can focus now, let's do this. So I started going through, and I started thinking about how the Lord changed me, and where I came from, and like my journey for the past year and a half from when I got saved, and how it all kind of pointed, and God kind of moved my steps directly to this moment where I'm at City Project after raising $5,000. And it was like God placed all these images in my head, and I kept thinking about the gospel and like the core belief. And I don't know if it was because I was hungry, or because like that was like the quote that they gave us. They compared the gospel to a feast. But I ended up writing more or less a story, kind of depicting the gospel in sort of this easy to swallow example. And I compared God to basically I compared God to a chef who created a whole meal for us and invited all of us to eat with him. And then we took the food and kicked them out. And it's kind of like our rebellion against him. Like, we're taking all his blessings and everything they created in this whole process of the world that he created the right way, his way, and really the only way. And we it's like we're taking everything that he gave us, but we're leaving him out of it. We're trying to have love without him, which doesn't exist. We're trying to have morals without him, which doesn't exist. And we're basically worshiping ourselves in this act. Like, we're holding us more valuable than God, more to, so to say. And that's like what sin is, really. And I compared all of our acts of sin and rebellion to that, and we basically kicked God out of his own dinner party. And then it all kind of built up, and I explained how God invited us here, and he made the food and he bought everything, but we kicked him out anyway. But good thing is, he prepared a sous chef, which is Jesus, and Jesus created a whole another meal for us that we can't actually swallow, and he still invited us to that. But the only way to get through it is through him, which is the doorman. And our food's gonna run out, but his food never does, because it's everlasting food, the bread of life. And all that went in, and I was like, I think it took me about an hour to write everything down. It wasn't even that long. I was just like, I was thinking and writing and how to formulate it. And I don't know, it was like God made me a perfectionist at that moment, because he knew it was about to happen. And he knew what he was setting me up for. So after all that ended, I sauntered over to the place where we met. And I was one of the last ones, because I went over time about 15 minutes or 10 minutes. And we were all sharing in a circle, or like a bunch of like tons of mini circles. They basically had people share. They opened up the floor for have everybody to share. And I knew I was supposed to go up to share, and it was like kind of my old habits coming back to me. Like, I have a bad tendency of knowing I'm supposed to do something and knowing God's directing me in a certain way, and me either twisting it in my mind and saying, no, that's probably just me, so I'm not going to do it because it's probably a bad idea, or it'll make me look stupid to God, so I don't want to do this. And it was like all that at that one moment. He was like, it was like I felt that if I rejected him in that one moment, I'd reject him for the rest of the summer. Like, that's what it felt like to me in that moment. That was the gravity of the moment that that God placed in my heart. And so I went up there and shared the extended allegory, and I was scared to death. Like, I don't know, it was something else. Like, I can tell jokes out loud, and I can do this behind the camera, like, but I can't. There's something different about creating something that you think that you came up with, and it's like every little thing that you create and you actually put time into, like, that's a piece of your heart. So if people reject that, they reject you as a person. That's kind of how it felt to me at that point of time. And so I really didn't want to go up there by myself, but I asked Narit to walk up with me, and he he did. And once I started going, I kind of zoned out. And it was like I closed my eyes, but at the same time, I was picturing it while I was reading it. It was like I was having a lucid dream with my eyes open, kind of in the back of my head, like God showing me all these, like the whole sequence in a movie, in my head. I don't know. I felt at peace. Like there's nothing, like you think after, or like when you reach the middle of a tornado, and everything's hectic all around you, but you just had that one moment of calm, and that's how it felt. I think that was one of the most peaceful moments I had over the whole summer, because the whole summer was just wild. But that was definitely one of the most peaceful and most restful moments after I got all that out off my chest. And it was crazy to see how God moved through me in that one moment. It's something so small, but I felt so big to me, and apparently other people liked it. I think they were just gassing me up, honestly, trying to make me feel better about being nervous and going to talking, but it was all good though. If they didn't like it, they were real nice about it. If they did, like, that's fantastic. But so after that, I did something really stupid, and I had a little bit of FOMO, and I was like, oh, you guys are going to the rock quarry? Okay, it's by the river. Okay, I'm gonna go there. And like a dummy, I jumped off a cliff into the water. I don't do that. Yeah, that's just not something I do. So anyway, I jumped to the river, had no energy, so I had to like claw the water and drag myself forward so that I could survive and not drown, because I had no energy at that point. Like, I can swim, I can do backstroke and butterfly and freestyle and all that, but that was a different animal. Like, yeah, I ended up making it out, and later that night we had worship and prayer, and it was just incredible. I cannot remember for the life of me like who I was praying with. I think I was with, it's quite possible I was with my D group, but yeah, that moment was definitely one of the defining moments of CP. And so this is Friday right before commissioning and our 5 morning drive to New York. So the next video is New York. Stay tuned, get ready.